Bringing you the very best in Star Realms coverage and analysis. This is Megahaulin.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Megahaulin, a podcast dedicated to the White Wizard game Star Realms. My name is Dustin the Mystic Klingman and I am your host. A lot has happened since our last podcast and we're going to dedicate today's entire episode to one player. In fact, the number one ranked player. I'm going to have an exclusive interview with Dommola, who just recently passed the 100 level mark, making him the number one player in the history of Star Realms. Now, I can remember some episodes back when Chris C.R. Shaner was the first to pass level 50, and Matt and I were just wondering, is it possible that someone could ever get to level 100? Would anyone ever put that time in and have that kind of success? Well, as we all know, it has happened, and so we're going to talk to Dommola. Before we get into our interview with Dommola, I want to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of other creators in the fan created community for Star Realms. First to Sam Hall, Plays of the Week is still awesome. We're 5 weeks in and running, and that's basically an opportunity for you to share some incredible moment that you had in a Star Realms game, and he will combine those all together into one sweet video for the week, and maybe you'll make it. So go over and check that out on his channel and in the Star Realms fan created community page. Also want to give a shout out to Paul Solomon, who has a Star Realms minicast where he's been doing over on anchor.fm. It's been posted in the Star Realms fan created community, but these are shorter casts where he's talking about one specific strategic discussion or an overall playthrough of a Star Realms game. Lots of great insights, and it's always good to see more people contributing and creating for the community. So props to you guys. And now about our guest. So Dommola is a fantastic individual. I got to meet him first at the White Wizard Game Fair 2 years ago, where he traveled to compete not only in the Star Realms tournaments, but also in the Epic tournament, the very first year that the White Wizard Game Fair was in existence. He was an awesome player, an incredible sportsman, and he was just emblematic of all of the things that are great about the Star Realms community, not to mention the fact that he was a fantastic player. So now he's had this incredible success. You can find him on social media. He actually is on Twitter, and his Twitter handle is Ola_014. And I will put a link to that in the story over on the Megahaulin strategy blog, which is megahaulin.wordpress.com. And Ola's just a great guy. He's got a fantastic view on the world, and he took some time to talk with us about reaching level 100, what that meant for him, and let us see a little bit more of insight about him as a person and as a gamer. So without further ado, our guest for today's podcast, Dommola. It's my pleasure to welcome the new level 100 number one player in lifetime ranking Star Realms, Ola Dommola Mæhle. Hola, did I get your name correct?
Very, very good.
Welcome to Megahaulin, and congratulations on this huge accomplishment, level 100.
Thank you.
Can you believe it?
Thank you very much. It's quite a milestone. I'm really happy to actually be there. I kind of like knew that I would go for 100 for quite a while, but if you asked me like a couple of years ago, I would like, no one is ever going to get to level 100 because it's such an absurd amount of games. If you have just started playing, it's like impossible to even realize that you can play that many games. But well, when you have played for years and years, then suddenly you have played a lot of games.
We're going to dig deep into the road to level 100 in just a little bit. But Ola, many people have seen your names on the lifetime rankings and, of course, in the weekly and monthly ratings. Some of us have met you in person at the White Wizard Game Fair a couple of years ago. But I'd like you to just tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your day job? What kind of games do you like to play other than Star Realms?
Well, so my name is Ola, and I live in Oslo. So I'm developer at NTB, which is the Norwegian news agency, national news agency. Other games I like to play is nowadays it's a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Star Realms is the game I play definitely the most, of course, and but I can play Star Realms like anytime. It's more like when I'm waiting to compile something at work, I can play some rounds when I'm at the toilet, whatever, or when I'm in line. Just like basically kind of like Darklighter described in a thread. And I think someone asked just the general question of how many games people were playing and how often they play and stuff like that, and he was basically just playing whenever, wherever.
Yeah, I've witnessed that.
It's kind of the same with me. I play whenever I can, but sometimes I can go not days, because then I would time out, but almost to the limit of my before timing out, before playing anything. But that's pretty rare. I usually miss Star Rounds within a couple of hours.
Gotcha. And what would you say is the special thing about Star Realms that appeals to you, that would keep you playing it for 4 years, and like you said, anytime you can get back to it?
I think it's like really that the thing that I can play it on my phone, that I can play it whenever, wherever, if I'm and that and of course that I have excelled and I am a top player there. Of course, that motivates you to play even more. So yeah, I think it's really fast. I think it's like you can the thing that I can just play whenever I want, and that is such a fast game that I can play whenever I want.
Gotcha.
I used to play a lot of Dota and Dota 2 and games like that, where you're basically stuck for an hour. If you leave, people will get mad at you, and
so you like the fact that you can just jump in and jump out.
Yeah, I can just play whenever I want. Like when I was streaming the other day, I played. It was kind of the first time I played real-time match. I played real-time match once against my girlfriend just to try it out. But other than that, I always played the 48-hour games. But it was kind of fun to try the real-time games. But that's kind of not the appealing thing to me, because once you're in a real-time game, you're also kind of locked into that game mode, and you have or into that game. You have to be there. If you get a call, you are likely to time out, and I kind of don't like to be all in all the time, but yeah.
So it's interesting. So you listed Dota, you listed PUBG, and you listed Star Realms as games that you like to play. Very different types of games: FPS, MOBA / RTS, and then time-based asynchronous card deck builder game.
My family is really into playing regular card games, so I've played card games since I was little. So card games, I've always had a funness for card games.
Is there one in particular that is a family favorite?
Yeah, but I don't think it translates.
Oh well.
Because now my grandfather is he's really into bridge and those and so he's 92 years old and still kicking it on the championships.
Oh wow, he's a highly skilled bridge player, huh?
Yeah, he's.
How do you?
Nowadays, I think it's basically he knows a lot. It's not that his memory isn't the best. I notice when we play other games. But yeah, but it's really cool that that I have like my grandfather who's that old and he's really into it.
How do you think he would fare at Star Realms?
I think he would. I think he would like it. But yeah, I think it's too late to teach him now.
Well, at least
he failed to teach me Bridge. So
that's good. Yeah, Bridge is a great game, and I think at least on the digital app of Star Realms, he can peek. He can use the peek to remember what his opponent has.
Yeah, of course. And also, I played a lot of chess, of course.
A lot of chess.
Yeah.
And do you play online? Do you play chess with friends? Or?
I have a chess.com account and I played a bit there, but it's mostly it's really like I played a lot when I was a kid, and I played a lot when I started in university, but I have never been in like a club or something, so I always just played with friends, and I started playing a bit online, but never really like competing or something like that.
I did a little bit of quick math there. If you're playing the game for 4 years and you've got 21,000 some games, that's a minimum of about 13 to 15 games every single day. So I'm curious, how many games do you have running at any given point in time?
That really varies, but right now I don't think it's that many right now. I think, but let me see. Actually, I just had like 8 pages of active games. So
that's like 32 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you find you automatically re-queue right afterwards? As soon as you finish a game, do you re-queue another one, or as soon as you take all your turns, do you re-queue another one?
Usually, it kind of depends. If I'm like when I'm like at work and stuff like that, I'm just playing games when I have games and stuff like that. But when I'm home and just sitting down and just sitting down to play, then I will always just like play all my games, queue, and just always queue if I don't have anyone in the queue. And yeah.
Got you. And do you always play quick match, or do you have a particular format that you try to prefer?
Lately I have been doing the format just pick everyone and say maybe. So it's actually exactly the same as quick match.
Okay. Oh, you said everything to maybe.
It's so like I think that maybe that makes me also match with the other ones who picks quick match. If I don't already do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you said no preference.
I just want to get a match really fast.
Right, and you leave events and gambits, at least year 1 gambits and promos in.
Yeah, of course. But
okay.
I love gambits. I want every game to be with gambits. Events is kind of like, I can play with them, but I don't love them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's basically if everything in the events were more optional, then I would love them. But the way they are now, they kind of forces you to draw, and it always. It will almost always favor one party over the other. Mm. So if the draws were optional, then I would love gambits as well. But as it is, like it is now, I'm not a big fan, but I will play with them.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the grind to level 100, because I'm sure at some point it does feel like that. Even with 66% win percentage, you're still losing, a lot of games, right? And you win 2 out of 3, but you still lose the 3rd one, right? So there was a change that was made about how the leveling cap modified, so that you couldn't, once you reached a certain level rank, you couldn't fall below that rank, which is the way that it currently exists now. Do you think that that is certainly, your win percentage and the volume of games speaks for itself in terms of your skill as a player. Do you feel that level cap has helped or simplified things at all? Does it help generally for players?
I think it probably helps a bit for all players, because if you are like that one win behind a new level and you have a lot of games going, you can always be a bit selective. But when when you're at like the kind of level I'm at now, it's you can probably like game it a bit if you like start hundreds of games and like be really wary about what games you're playing and just slow play and the right games and play fast the right games and stuff like that. But that's so much work.
Yeah, that's
it's not for me at least. But so I basically just start games and play games, and suddenly I'm a new level.
Right. No, that makes sense. And so you mentioned that you said everything to maybe, so you basically are equivalent to quick play. That must mean you play a lot of games where anyone else that hits quick play, I think it defaults to every available expansion.
Yeah, I think that's my impression as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine that you do play a wide range of formats. Is there one that you have? You mentioned Gambits, liking Gambits, maybe not being as happy about events. But if you're picking a deliberate format to choose, is there one that you like over the others, or do you just take it as it comes?
If I was to pick a format, I would probably pick everything except Gambits. Everything except events. But I think like if you're like playing random games and your motivation is to like gain a new level, you should just play with everything, because the more expansions you have, the more complex the game will be, and the bigger the bigger the probability that the more experienced player will win.
Yeah. I see. Okay, so can we unpack that just a little bit, because it's a really interesting one. A lot of people will buy Star Realms, the digital game, and most of them will not buy an expansion past just the base game. So I think it's probably accurate to say no evidence to this, but most people will only have the vanilla expansion, so they'll only have the base game. And then it seems like the biggest fans and the most interested players were the ones that would continue to buy the expansions. So when you play everything, aren't you creating conditions under which you're always playing against the most interested and most active players?
There's probably a lot of more new people playing vanilla, but my impression is also that there's a lot of people who just enjoy certain formats and play them over and over and over. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. People always like look at the formats and trying to find out what is the better format and worst format for competitive play and stuff like that. And when I look at my stats, and most of the time, the more expansions I add, the better the win percentage.
That's interesting. So what do you think accounts for that? Why do you think you'd have a higher win percentage against? Is it less experience, even from the players who have been with the game a long time?
I think that the point is that my experience is probably I have more experience than my opponent, probably.
Okay. So even in all settings, you've played more games with every setting configured on than your opponent.
Probably.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at 21,000 games, that's almost certain the case, right?
Yeah, I think we are like 4 people or more. It's like Darklighter and Matt and me, and I'm guessing Brian is probably up there soon as well.
Yeah,
he's playing a lot. And,
he's playing a lot.
And this guy named Hai.
Who do you think that you've played the most? Over the 21,000 games that you've played?
I'm pretty sure that is Supered, actually, because we met in that's Sander Lasinik. We met in 2 years ago when we both were traveling to Sri Lanka at the same time, we suddenly were in the same town. So it was really funny, and we met up and had dinner, and so we had a running game since then, and so I think we have like I can check. We have 144 games. It's really nice when you can just check everything.
Yeah. Are you checking out ProStarRoams.com?
Yep.
So you have the games against which player?
Suiped.
So
that's Suiped with Zuiperd.
Okay, that
Suiped.
makes sense.
It's Dutch, I think.
Makes sense. Okay, and as you're playing all these games back to back, do you start to notice trends of play or general patterns of game styles that your opponents have?
No, I heard people talk a lot about that, but I don't actually. Maybe if I paid more attention or something, but I kind of like I notice who I really have to like put my best play on for, if you know. But you have to focus all the time, because even if you're playing a level 1, it's you still have to just play your best.
I think a lot of people who will be listening to the podcast have maybe been around the game a long time, so they've had the big swings where you can't lose a game on a long streak, and then the reverse, you can't win a game on a long streak. What would you say is probably your most memorable winning and losing streak in the last time that you've had with the game?
I really think I never had like. There's always like weeks where you feel like you don't have any progress, but it's more. I think I just play like so regularly that I think for me it's like I just go up a small bit all the time. I don't feel like I'm plateauing anytime actually.
Okay.
So because of course some weeks are better than others, but it's just like a small steady pace upwards.
Now you play a tremendous number of games online. Do you play in any of the competitive spaces, any of the regular Sunday casual tournaments in the fan created community, or do you play in the Board Game Geek leagues at all?
Yeah, I usually play the Sunday casual. I've never won it actually, but I think I've participated in most of them since I started, since I joined the page. And I'm in the Board Game Geek League. Been in the Platinum for like 10 seasons or something, but I had a really bad season last season, so now I'm back in gold.
Oh, relegated. Yes.
And I'm also in the Pan Galactic League. I started this year, so I'm in the minor league. I won my division this year, so I might get to go to the upper league next year, I think, if there's any spaces available.
Outstanding. Is there one player that you think gives you more trouble than any other?
Yeah, of course there is. If I would look at my win percentage, I would probably find a lot of players that's giving me a lot of headache. But I kind of dislike the idea of Nemesis in a way, because it's all about playing the game as good as you can, right? It doesn't matter who you play. It's just to play the game as good as you can possibly do yourself. So I don't focus that much on my opponent, but of course there is this. If you know you're up against a tough opponent, you get some more nerves and stuff like that. But I generally think that people shouldn't think that much about who they're playing and just think more about what what they're actually doing, because your opponent can only play as good as he can, and you can only play as good as you can. This is not chess. It's not predetermined. You're gonna have flips and cards will show up, and everything is random.
That transitions us nicely into the next question I have, which there are so many players who are new to the game, who are new to the community. What tips would you give them now with looking back on the body of games that you've been playing and continue to play?
I don't know. I mean, basically just play to have fun. It's easy for me to say, but don't worry about leaderboards and stuff like that. But I honestly didn't care about the leaderboards at the start. When I first started playing, I don't think we even had leaderboards. I just think we had a level or something. And it was fun to level up, but I don't think I cared really much about my level. It was more like all the games and about playing the games and having fun with the games, and yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's a great place for us to pause. Dommola, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on your incredible achievement, and we'll be watching and looking forward to the next time we can play you in person.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And that was our exclusive interview with level 100 player, number 1 in the world, Dommola. He was a fantastic interview, and thanks again to Dommola for coming on and talking to us a bit about his experience with Star Realms. Folks, if you'd like, you can reach out to us. We are on Facebook, Megahaulin, a Star Realms podcast. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. We are at Megahaulin. If you're a big fan of the email, you can send us email at megahaulin@gmail.com. We'll do our best to get back to you as fast as possible. And if you're looking for more great strategy stories or other information about Star Realms, including this podcast or other deep strategies from players like Dommola or Homer Jr. or others, you can head over to megahaulin.wordpress.com. That is the Megahaulin strategy blog. It's the best resource for all information around this game and learning how to play it at an advanced level. That's going to do it for this episode of Megahaulin. We'll look forward to be back with you guys very soon. And until next time, keep scrapping them scouts. So long.